Hey guys, welcome to the SCHMOEDOWN RESPIN Inner Geekdom Tournament Championship Special. Obviously, we have the Inner Geekdom Tournament coming up, so today myself, Nate, and Strange Wang will be breaking down either side of the Inner Geekdom bracket, match by match, making our predictions until we get to our final prediction of who will win the Inner Geekdom Tournament.
First, we have the Barbarian with the Fin Stock Exchange versus Adam Hlavik from, I didn't write that down. I'm a big believer in tragedy games. Or you had Jordan with the flu game. I think it was Isaiah Thompson. His sister died.
Yeah.
He scored a ridiculous amount of points.
Brett Favre after his dad passed away.
Exactly. Barbarian, unfortunately, had a travesty happen to him with his wife passing away. So I think he's going to blow Adam Hlavik out the water. They're saying this guy could be a 3-division belt champion. So those are big words. And we know one thing about Bobby Gucci. We had the luxury of hanging out with him one day. The dude doesn't lie. So
That's
if he
true.
said he's going to be a 3-belt champion, I fully believe he's going to be a 3-belt champion.
I like Adam Hlavik. I think he'd be really fun to hang out with, but I don't think that he's going to have the game to hang in there with the Barbarian. So I have the Barbarian moving on to round 2 as well.
And in the bracket, on the other side, we have Saul versus Brandon Hanna. I think Brandon Hanna doesn't have what it takes. I think he's a Crumber under pressure. I think Saul's going to pull this one out. He's running his mouth too much. He has too much to prove. I don't think he can back it up.
So I think that he knows that. So you picked Saul.
Yeah.
Okay. So I went with Hannah. And it's actually for a lot of the reasons that you're saying. But I also think that he knows that if he is going to be anything in this league, he has to start backing that shit up. Because he does like to run his mouth a lot, especially when it comes to Chandru and their whole little like weird rivalry that they've had, having to play each other as much as they've had to play each other already. And like, I think that this guy, I think he does not want to lose to Chandru ever again. And I think that he knows the level that Chandru plays on. So I think that he's probably doing a massive amount of work to get ready for this tournament. We'll see how far I think he's going to go, but I think he's going to win that first round.
Side note, I think Chandru thinks he's a peon, so I don't think it's a rivalry if only one person thinks it's a rivalry.
Look at the record.
Yeah, just because you get paired up with someone a few times, that doesn't mean it's a rivalry.
They talk a lot of crap about each other. It's definitely a rivalry.
But in the same bracket, we have Alex Damon versus Janine Kemp. I have Damon because I've seen him play. Simple as that. And I know one category he's not going to get any questions wrong in,
right,
which is Star Wars, which he's the champion in that division.
Yep, I have him going as well. I don't think that he would have entered this tournament unless he felt like he was ready to do it. We know he knows Star Wars super well, and obviously a lot of that comes from just his absolute love for Star Wars and him running his channel that he's run, but that also tells me that he knows how to learn the intricacies of something. Now, he definitely hasn't had the time to do it for the rest of the Inner Geekdom, so again, we'll see how far I think he's going to go, but I think that he's going to come out and turn some heads.
We have the other side of the bracket. We have a lot of new players in this league. We have Janine the Machine and John Humphrey both playing their first Inner Geekdom games. And I'm going to go with Janine the Machine just because she's better at the game than John Humphrey is. There's past records to show it. Now, whether either of them are any good is yet to be seen in the Inner Geekdom division.
Yeah, agreed. And for pretty much for the same reasons that you're saying, I have Janine moving on as well. I love watching Humphrey play. I love his attitude, but I don't think he cares about this game nearly as much as Janine cares about it. It means a lot to her. She kind of lives, eats, breathes a lot of this stuff. And not to say that Humphrey doesn't know a lot about stuff, not to say he doesn't want to win, but I think that literally just that overall drive and that attitude is 100% going to give Janine the win over Humphrey.
And the bracket below that, we have Chance Ellison versus Paul Oyama. The fan leagues clash again. These guys have a rivalry going into it, both being the fan leagues playing each other. I have Chance Ellison going over Paul Oyama in this. We've seen, Paul Oyama came back from a very bad match getting knocked out, but he doesn't have that attitude anymore. Chance, he has attitude. He's hungry. He just lost the belt. He wants it. So I think Chance Ellison will squeak in.
Yeah, so I think that Ellison is playing in the Inner Geekdom tournament just to have his face shown, honestly. Like, he wants to be a part of this league. He wants to be involved in things like that. But he is obviously he's a singles competitor. He had the belt, okay, and obviously Oyama is one as well. Like, he's very, very, very good, but I think Ellison is so focused on singles right now. I don't understand how he could have possibly had the time to study everything that you need to know for the Inner Geekdom on top of still studying for regular movie trivia. And I think Oyama has been looking more forward to the Inner Geekdom tournament for a while. I think he's probably spent more time studying these specific things instead of the broader knowledge. That's why I went with Oyama.
Well, in the words of the rapper YG, might, maybe. But then we look at the opposite side of the bracket. We have Emily Rose Jacobson versus Eric Zipper. Eric Zipper, we've seen how hungry he is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how serious Emily takes the game. I know how serious he takes the game. And being under Parker and Smets as your studying companions, it's hard to count this guy out in this tournament. So I have him getting the win.
So I actually went with Rose Jacobson on this one, and I understand that's definitely like a dark horse pick. So I think if you went stat-wise and all the things, like, I 100% agree with everything that you're saying. It's just something about Zipper to me, man. Like, despite how well he did in his last singles match, and it's almost kind of some of the stuff that I'm saying for Oyama, I just don't know how well prepared for specific Inner Geekdom stuff he's going to be going into this tournament. I understand that that match was filmed however long ago it was filmed, and, like, there's been more time than between, like, that he could have been studying for Inner Geekdom between when we got the match and when they actually shot the match. But as far as Emily Rose Jacobson goes, Inner Geekdom is what she is here for. That's the only thing she's here for. She's had 2 kind of rough losses so far in games where she still had a decent showing. And anytime that I see that from someone, one of 2 things is going to happen. Either A, you're going to realize that you just shouldn't be in this game, or B, you're going to do what you need to do to get better at this game. And I think she's going to do the latter, and I think she's going to come in and be a bit of a surprise.
So, side note, I don't know how their matches are working with managers.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to be in the chat with them? I assume so. But you don't really get that personal connection, that one-on-one conversation with everyone unless it's with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how much Kaiser's going to play into this match as well. But I had to go with Eric Zipper. He's a new damn role. He's the GOAT. But underneath them, we have Mike Kalinowski, veteran in the league, versus... We don't know, because you have a pig match. What is a pig match? Play-in game. We have the Warfather versus Greg Alba. I'm going with the Warfather because he's played Inner Geekdom before. He knows how difficult it is, how deep the questions go. So Warfather for the win.
Yeah, again, I thoroughly love watching Alba play. I love his attitude. He's a lot of fun to me. But Warfather, like, I just like that guy. I mean, like, I think, like, I don't really enjoy the super gimmicky characters and things like that. No. I don't know why. I'm kind of falling for his a little bit, but he has shown that he knows this stuff. He has. I don't know if he'll ever quite be star status, but when it comes to him versus Alba, I definitely think that Warfather's going to pick up the win there.
So we both have Warfather playing Mike Kalinowski, and I think we probably both have Mike Kalinowski beating the Warfather. Yes. Am I correct?
Yeah, 100%. I think that Mike Kalinowski is definitely going to probably crush the Warfather, honestly.
Well, on the other side of the bracket, we have another pig match. Playing a game with Jim Vaveda versus Ben Goddard. I have Ben Goddard winning because he knows the league better. He knows how deep the questions go. He's not going to give somebody a category that they're going to mess up on. Jim Vaveda is showing that he doesn't watch these matches. He's not 100% committed. He might be now, but that's a lot. There's 7 seasons this thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to catch up on. So I don't know if he has the commitment that Ben Goddard has working with these guys and everything. So Ben Goddard is going to pick up the win.
So I went the opposite on that one as well. I have Vaveda winning and ending up playing Robert the Spider Parker based on knowledge alone. Ben Goddard, he's not bad at this game at all. I'm definitely not saying he doesn't know anything. I'm definitely not saying he's a schmuck. But
he's undefeated in singles and teams.
I have more faith in Vaveda's knowledge, and I think that ever since that debacle where he did give John biopics, I think he's paid a lot more attention. He's in a faction now. He has people teaching him how to play this game. I don't think he's going to come into this completely unprepared, and I think that his overall knowledge is going to put him ahead.
So, who do you have? Robert Parker versus Jim Vaveda. Who do you have?
Oh, well, Parker 100%, which is why ultimately it doesn't really matter who wins that big match because you have to play Robert Parker, and you're going to get killed. So,
agreed. I have Ben Gowder losing to Parker. Parker going on to play Chance Ellison in my bracket. I have Parker beating Chance Ellison. This kid is insane. We never seen anything from Oyama or Ellison in IG. So I think you have to give it to Parker. Your thoughts on who do you
yeah.
have?
So even though I had Oyama over Ellison moving to the second round, I have Parker just manhandling pretty much everyone that he goes through on his side of the bracket. I don't understand how you could pick him over even out of any of the people that he could potentially play up into the final, which we'll talk about in a second. I don't understand how you could pick anyone over Parker in that situation.
Well, we're going to go to the other side of the bracket where we have Mike Kalinowski versus Eric Zipper. They've played before. Zippity Doodah, as Mike likes to call him. I have Zippity Doodah, in that case, losing to Mike Kalinowski because veteran in the league, we know how good he is. Multiple-time GEEKDOM champion. Hard to count out. Your thoughts?
So for me, it's Kalinowski versus Jacobson in my bracket. Again, almost the same thing for Parker on his side. Kalinowski, we know he has the knowledge, and we know that he cares a ton about the GEEKDOM League. He is so much about it and so in it. I don't think Kalinowski is here to win matches. I think Kalinowski is here to fuck people up. And, I think that's exactly what's going to happen, whether it's Zipper or Jacobson.
Well, going to the other side of the bracket, we have, on my side, we have Barbarian versus Janine. You have the same, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm sticking with the flu game strategy. I think Barbarian, he's going to put on some spectacular matches for the rest of the year. And I think this is going to be one of them with Janine. But I have him winning because of that reason.
Yeah, so I went the other way. I wholeheartedly hear what you're saying. And there is always the chance that when someone goes through something hard and then comes and plays that they end up doing not well because they have other stuff on their mind. And, I hope it's the opposite. I would love to see him come in after what he's had to go through and win the whole thing. I mean, that would be the biggest surprise, one of the biggest surprises in SCHMOEDOWN history, I think. I don't think it's going to happen, though. I think Janine is just so tired of being shat on. I think she's tired of being the underdog. I think she's tired of people assuming she'll never do anything in this league. The poor girl had to deal with Jay Washington for so long. And I think that she's ready to, prove herself, I think that I just have a feeling that she has put a ton of study work into, learning this stuff for this game. And I think that's going to be, I think that's maybe except for what I have for the final, I think that's going to be the closest match in my bracket. It was Barbarian versus Janine. I could have gone either way. I ended up going with Janine.
So a comment on yours. I think she's a second-rate teams player for the rest of her career in the SCHMOEDOWN. I don't think she's going to go any higher than that. So, interesting, your thoughts on that. But at the same time, we're going to go to the other side of the bracket now. I have Alex Damon versus Saul. I have Damon beating Saul because I know what Damon can do. I don't know anything about Saul. And you have Hannah versus Alex Damon. Who do you got in your match?
I still have Damon coming out on top. Brandon Hannah, it just really comes to, it's not that I'm unimpressed by him by any means, but we know that Damon has the ability to learn the intricacies of things. I think that he's going to know the answer to some of those really, really tough, almost absurd GEEKDOM questions because I think he's anticipating those. Yeah. He's been playing in a league, the Star Wars League, where every little detail is a potential question. And I think that he's kept that stuff in mind while he's learning this stuff. I hope that him paying so much attention to those small details doesn't have him overlook some of the simpler questions or mid-tier questions. But I just have a hard time seeing Hannah beat Damon on this. I trust Damon's study ability, and I definitely trust his love for the game.
Do you trust his study ability when he plays Matt Kalinowski? We have him in both of our brackets going against each other. My problem is, even if it was anyone else, if they made it this far in the tournament, I still think they're going to have the edge over Damon because he's thinking about that Star Wars tournament too. He's watching those matches. He's focused on them. He's still studying Star Wars trivia a lot.
Right.
He's probably at his house right now learning how to put together a TIE fighter in real life, which you don't need, but he's probably learning what this bolt is called for this part and all that nonsense. But he's studying too. There's so much for him to study. I think with regular movie trivia, it's easier to do teams and singles because movies.
Yeah.
These movies, you have to study so deep. So I don't think he would pull out anyways. But against Mike Kalinowski, I don't think he has no chance.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is just an issue of timing, and also ultimately it's going to matter if it depend on if Damon even wants to keep going in the Inner Geekdom or not. But for any of these newer people, obviously with the exception of Robert Parker, unless someone is just a huge surprise, Kalinowski has been studying this stuff for years. Like, he's already so deep-seated in his knowledge, and he's continuing to study, which means it's just getting deeper and deeper and deeper. Like, if you think he doesn't know the name of Iron Man's arms this time, you're crazy. Like, I just feel like the chances of you coming up with a question that is going to stump Kalinowski in this tournament are going to be incredibly difficult. And Mike said it himself before. People don't realize it. There are like 100 and something movies that they can pull questions from for the Inner Geekdom.
I think it's 300.
Is it that many now? So
yes.
It's a lot. It keeps growing. He said 100 and something one time. Maybe it's different. But that's an absurd amount of movies to have to study. And it doesn't matter how much you have studied them. You cannot gain that deep-seated knowledge unless you have been doing this for literally years. And Kalinowski has. So I think that he's going to the final over Damon.
Well, talking about deep-seated knowledge, we have two rookies that have yet to prove their deep-seated knowledge. We have Robert Parker in both of our brackets.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen a lot from him because he knocked his opponent out in the second round. So, my side have Robert Parker versus Barbarian. This is my upset. I have Barbarian going over Parker.
I don't believe you.
It's written right here on the sheet that says Viagra. You can't see that, but I have Barbarian going over Parker. You gotta have one upset in March Madness. It ain't March, but we getting some madness on. And you have Janine versus Parker.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you have Parker.
Yeah.
So, in my finals, I have the Barbarian versus Mike Kalinowski. I have Mike Kalinowski taking it over the Barbarian. Experience, knowledge. I think Inner Geekdom-wise, I think that, like, his manager's sitting right beside him. So, even if they don't have managers, his manager lives with him. So, I think when it comes to the management stuff, either way, he gets a plus. He gets a bump.
For sure. So I have Parker versus Kalinowski in mine. I think Parker is that good. I understand we've only seen him once, but I think he is 100% the real deal. It's just going to come down to, again, how much time have you been looking into this stuff? How well do you know the game? And I understand Parker's been in the fan leagues, and they operate basically under the same rule set and all that kind of stuff. But Kalinowski, man, I mean, you're not going to rattle him. You're not going to shake him. Parker, I'm not saying that he's going to get super rattled or shaken, but, I mean, going up against a person like Kalinowski, I mean, this is like David and Goliath, you know? Like, I'm not saying the lights are going to get to him. I just think the pressure of, like, the tournament, the pressure of, like, what it would mean if you actually beat Kalinowski, I don't think he's going to be able to push through all of that. I think this is the first. I think he's going to breeze through his half of the bracket, and then I think when he plays Kalinowski in the final, that's going to be the first time that you see him stumble a little bit. And I think that Kalinowski, I think it's going to be close, but I think Kalinowski is going to end up coming out on top.
We have Mike Kalinowski winning both of our brackets. This is topical with the SCHMOEDOWN RESPIN bracket breakdown. Check out the Star Wars one and the SCHMOEDOWN RESPIN for all your news and match analysis. Also this week, like, comment, share, and subscribe.